So 2026 is here, and this is a great opportunity for us to have a look at 3 areas that I think are going to be very interesting for us in the world of IT GRC to focus on and to invest more time into. In this video, I'm going to share exactly those 3 areas, and I'm also going to share the element, the connecting glue that brings everything together, and without that, you will not succeed, plain and simple. My name is Yannis, and this is the IT GRC Hero. Let's go. All right, but before we start, let me say have a happy new year. I know it's late, it's 20 days late already or so, but have a great 2026 with lots of health, lots of happiness. Achieve your goals, your dreams, professional, personal, health-wise. Stay healthy and stay motivated and surrounded by people you love and people that love you back. That's the most important thing in this life. But you're here to hear me talk about those 3 subfields or those 3 areas that I think are very important to focus on in 2026. I will give you to straight. I thought about it quite a lot, and that's actually why I came up with those, because I was, as I usually do in the New Year's, when the year switches, I'm always thinking, okay, what can I do this year? How can I switch to something different or explore a different avenue or a different subfield of IT GRC, what is out there to explore. And I came up with those 3 areas that I think are quite interesting, a bit challenging, but also that's what we're here for. I will start from the more generic one, and then I will move into the more specific one, and we'll see how that goes. So the first one, to, I guess, nobody's surprise, is gonna be compliance with regulations. Now, before you say anything, I know that it's not the most catchy or most appealing, let's call it like that. I don't know if I say the word starting with S, if something's going to happen with YouTube, but you get what I mean. But I know that regulation is not something that comes in everybody's mind. However, I do believe that it's a very important area that we need to focus on, and we have a lot of opportunity to grow and to learn more and to expose ourselves in the world of regulation, compliance, legal requirements, and so on. But now you might be thinking, why is it so important? It's boring. I don't want to do it. I'm not a lawyer. You know, all those things, those arguments are valid to some extent. However, think about it like that. We have regulations coming in almost daily at this point. I am feeling overflooded, to be completely honest with you, with the amount of regulations that are coming each day. Just recently, I found out about the Digital Networks Act, the DNA, which is catchy, nothing related to DNA and all that stuff, not biology related, but quite interesting how you secure, as far as I understand, digital networks. But there is so many regulations that are coming on a daily basis almost at this point that I do think that placing ourselves in the area of regulations and understanding them and knowing them and then enforcing them, or being able to promote them and to use them properly, is a tool that you can invest in. And I definitely know that I will be doing that. It's quite important. You have a lot of room to explore and to learn in the area of regulations. I can think of a lot of examples. You have the GDPR, of course, which is old at this point, but still very valid to this day. You have the also very appealing EU AI Act. You also have the Cyber Resilience Act. You have Digital Operations Resilience Act, DORA. You have NIS2. There is so many other ones that I can't even think of right now, but they will pop up everywhere in the screen. I'll make some some nice graphics, but you get the point. There's so many of them. So I would invest time in those, and I will, in fact, and I would invite you to do the same, because I do feel that this is definitely important, and companies now and executives are liable for many of those. So the interest of international organizations and businesses is huge for those regulations. They need to be sure that they can comply with them. And who is going to help them comply or understand them or build a framework around them? It's me, it's you, it's us. We, IT GRC experts, can help bridge that gap. So I would invite you to at least think about regulations, as unappealing as they might sound at a first glance. So that's number one. And just a very quick interjection, if you like this video, do me a huge favor. It doesn't cost anything, it's free. Next to the dislike button, down below, there is a like button. So if you could hit that and then subscribe to join this beautiful channel and show me that what I do is important to you. Thank you so much. Number two is something that I'm already involved in, I have to say, but there is a lot of room still and a lot of demand for this particular area. And what is that area, you might ask? Well, it's third-party risk management. Third-party risk management has to do, as the name suggests, with the way a company, an organization manages its third-party risk. Obvious, right? I didn't give you anything very useful there. Of course, I'm referring to risk that pertains to our field in the related IT, cyber security, information security, data protection fields or subfields of our generic bubble that we all live in. This is the type of risk that I'm talking about. The reason why it's so important is, I think, super obvious. Unless you don't know by now, just last year we had a crazy amount of cyber incidents and events whose root cause was a third party of a particular company. From the top of my head, I can think of Big Five. I can think of SalesLoft. I can think of React to Shell. There's so many more. The ones I mentioned are just from the last 4 or 5 months or so. I think the last one was in August or September or something like that. So you can see there is a lot of dependency between companies, organizations, our employers, basically, and their third parties, their suppliers, their vendors, because they form the backbone of their services, of what they offer. At the same time, of course, those same third parties are a big vulnerability, are a gateway for malicious entities, for threat actors, for hackers, for malicious software, gaps to security to penetrate and go through, and then starting from there, they can start escalating their access, they can leverage systems of other third parties, or they can enter our own infrastructure, our own networks, our own environments. And this is exactly what we need to protect against. What do we do in third-party risk management, let's say cyber risk management? We focus on contracts. Does the third party have the right contract in place with the terms and conditions that we want to have? Are they secured properly? Do they have proper protocols for encryption? Are they properly training their employees and their staff? Are they having physical access controls in place? All of those areas and more than that are part of that third-party risk management field. And this is exactly an area that has a lot of demand and needs a lot of attention. And I think it's not going to go away anytime soon. So this is a very interesting, a very appealing place to explore and to think about. That's my recommendation. I am in there already. I'm doing third-party cyber risk management, and I would definitely urge you to think about it as well as a potential area of focus, let's say. And then the third item that I would definitely recommend, and I think it's to no one's surprise, starts with some word. What was it? Artificial intelligence. I'm pretty sure you're not surprised with that either, but it is artificial intelligence indeed. And I mentioned briefly before the EU AI Act, which is something, of course, that we need to keep in mind from a regulatory perspective. But in general, I think artificial intelligence is really making waves and is everywhere at this point. We have artificial intelligence in every process in our organizations, even in our personal lives, of course. But every company, or most companies, are trying to adapt and adopt AI to some extent. And all of these companies need to protect themselves, need to safeguard themselves against threats related to artificial intelligence. Once again, we have the security parts, we have the way you secure AI systems or AI agents. Have they been trained with the right data? The data validity is there. Some of the controls, some of the security requirements applicable to traditional systems and tools could apply to artificial intelligence, but of course artificial intelligence brings other challenges on the table. And then, of course, you have things like ethics and how do you train models ethically and properly. You have things like making sure that your models are not hallucinating or that they are providing output in a way that is transparent and it's clear how they came up with that conclusion. Have a person in the loop so that every time you have an important decision made by AI, there's always a person, an expert there to validate and to confirm. These are all very important aspects that we need to take into account, and AI is not going to go anywhere. On the contrary, it's going to grow exponentially, and this is exactly why we need to get into it as quickly as possible, educate ourselves, and grow in the area of AI and cyber and IT GRC. But now, I mentioned that none of this is possible without the secret sauce, the ingredient that brings everything together, that ties everything together and makes it legit, makes it tangible, and not just words of a guy that's making videos on YouTube, right? I would invite you, if you're starting out or if you're thinking about your career choices right now, to do so with intentionality. What I mean is, think about where you are, think about your skill set, what skills you have, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses as well, and then figure out what can you do or how can you use those strengths and weaknesses to build a concrete framework around yourself, a set of skills that can help you grow in your professional life. Of course, this is all about professional career thoughts, advice, sharing back and forth, but to me that is the most important. Being conscious about it and being intentional about our decisions. I would invite you to at least think about, okay, where do I go? What do I need to do to get there? What skill sets do I have? What skill sets do I need to develop? And then get there and find the best path forward. So be intentional, look around. The market and the world is changing. You have AI now. Next year or in a couple of years, you'll have something else, or maybe AI is going to explode, and then we'll have other challenges to take care of that we didn't even anticipate now. But do this consciously and with intent. And I believe this is the most important thing in our space, not just in IT GRC, of course, but because we're in a field that is technological in nature, that technology is everywhere, we need to be particularly careful or particularly wary of where technology, where the industry, where the economy of the world is going, and then, of course, adapt, follow it, and make sure that we make the best out of it. So these are the three areas of focus. This is my advice, or at least the advice to myself and then to you as well. Take it if you want. Leave a comment down below if you agree. If you don't agree, also leave a comment down below. Have a look at my video right here if you're interested in learning more about other topics from my channel. As always, stay safe and secure both in the physical and the digital world. Until next time, take care.